It's so good.
Fantastic.
I love it.
It does make me wonder though, what it would be like to drive the old, naturally aspirated, high revving ones.
Oh, like the EP3.
Or the EK9,
Or the
the early 2000s, yeah.
If only there was a way that we could like time travel, you know what I mean? Like go back and actually drive an EP3 for real.
I have a friend with an EP3.
Really?
Yeah, I'll just call him.
Oh, okay. You're watching Throttle House. I'm Thomas.
And I'm James.
And this is the 2020 FK8 generation Type R.
And this is a JDM EP3. EP3, signifying that it hit the scene in the early 2000s. And as I said, this one is straight from Japan, which means something. Well, first it means it was made in the UK and shipped to Japan, but we'll get to that later. More importantly, it's the best version. The envy of Europe and North America, the more aggressive JDM Type R retained its helical LSD from the previous gen, and the red Recaro race seats. But most significant of all, it got the made in Japan, but shipped to England, 212 horsepower K20A VTEC engine. And among some other differences, it was made available in the Championship White that we have here today.
Now, some people don't like the new Type R. That's only because they haven't driven one yet. Or they have, and they're wrong. Or maybe they have eyes that work, but looks aside, its impact is undeniable. And for 2020, they've upgraded it. We'll go over all the changes in a minute and whether or not they even make a difference, but I can tell you some things have been improved. It now makes a louder in-cabin sound, which is good, even if it's fake. Although it would have been nice to have a louder exhaust, just saying. And some things haven't been improved. It still occasionally grinds second gear for no reason. But the question is, with all of its little improvements this year, can it stack up to what is one of the all-time great hot hatches?
And a massive thanks to Chris Lopes, who owns the EP3, and if you want to follow his journey with it, we'll link his channel below in the description. And if you're new to Throttle House, we do car reviews, track tests, and quite a lot of messing about. So subscribe and hit the bell. We've driven the new one, and we've tracked the new one. Except this one is naturally aspirated, high revving insanity, but it's still somehow all Type R. I'm an Englishman in a mad, fast, hot hatch. I'm a happy bunny.
What can I say about the Type R? Other than kind of what I've said before. You have to drive one of these just to understand how good it is. This thing is an absolute weapon. You completely throw away everything you think you know about rear-wheel drive and front-wheel drive, and you have to understand that what makes a car good, what makes a car feel exciting in a corner, it's not which wheels are driven, it's how the car is set up. And the Type R, from factory, is set up so well. You just turn into a corner and the front grips in a way that it just shouldn't be possible.
It's almost impossible to find a clean one of these imported from Japan in North America. In fact, by our count, there's probably less than 10 in Canada. And it's even harder to find its stock. So this one actually has a few exhaust changes, as you might be able to hear. But it doesn't matter because it's all about that induction noise. And when I get it up to about 6,000 RPM, something punches in, or as it kicks in. Oh yeah, VTEC. You've probably already heard of it. Essentially, it's a technology that switches cam profiles on the fly so that when you get to the high RPM, it allows in more air, which allows in more fuel, which means more combustion, but more importantly, more power. And it's not the same in every Honda engine with VTEC, but I can tell you that in this one, it kicks in. There it is. And again,
in the high revs, I have power, I have noise, I have excitement. And in the low revs, I have noise and excitement and just a bit more efficiency. Because this thing, even at low speeds, is nuts. It's all over the place. You cannot buy a car today that comes anywhere close to this level of chaos and franticness. The Type R and the Veloster N are the closest you can get. But unlike when we drove the Type R with the Mustang Bullet, and we said that the Type R just made life so easy and is so easy to drive, this is actually quite difficult.
And when I say difficult, I'm not just referring to the fact that there's no advanced electronic safety systems to get you out of a tight spot. I mean that you have to be more accurate with your shifts, more purposeful with your throttle input, and, well, you have to deal with a much louder cabin. But all of that lends to the experience.
Everything about this is driver focused. The seats, the steering, even the shift knob is closer to the steering wheel so that I can shift with ease. My hand only has to travel about 3 inches. That's a number that Thomas is used to.
James has probably told you all about the VTEC in his car. Well, this one has VTEC as well, except it only has VTEC on the exhaust side. Since it's turbocharged, it doesn't need the aggressive cam profile to fire air into the engine on the intake. It uses the turbocharger for that. Then it uses VTEC on the exhaust cam to quickly evacuate and fight against the turbo on the exhaust side. However, for 2020, the thing that really interests me is that Honda has upgraded some bushings around the car. They stiffen them. It has lower friction ball joints, which means that what they've done is improved the only thing about the Type R that I didn't think needed any improving: the suspension and steering.
So that means that now in R+ mode, the car's even more precise. Listen, I knew that there were suspension changes before I drove this car, but I didn't think I was going to notice them. Maybe I'm only noticing them because I've been looking for them, but in R+ mode, the front end is heavier and there's less slack in when I deliver an input and when the front end makes a motion. So here, turn in we go. That's crazy. It didn't need to be any better than it was. It already absolutely tromped on other cars on our track last year. But now it's even better. And it's not just the suspension changes in the bushings and the ball joints, it's the dampers themselves. Now they can read the road and adapt 10 times quicker. So the ride is still very compliant in comfort mode, but in R+ mode, or plus R mode, body lean does not exist. I'd have to back it to honestly say with the 2019, but I think it's actually a bit more compliant in R+ mode. But it hasn't sacrificed any dynamic capabilities.
But this also does make me appreciate how much they've tuned out the torque steer in the new one, because you can feel it in this. Although it does exist in the new one on track. If you really push it, you can feel a little bit. Lift off oversteer, baby. Now the steering, and we talk about electric steering racks and hydraulic steering racks, and even though you can feel more through the hydraulic rack, it's important not to forget how much credit the new racks deserve in terms of accuracy and confidence. And this doesn't have what the new one has in that sense. But boy, is it a blast, Jesus.
And another thing changed for 2020 is this new weighted shifter and a new shift knob. I'd like to say that I notice it being a lot different, but I honestly don't. It's not that much different to me. A bit heftier. But that's not really where my interest is. It's in what they may have done to the car to make it faster around a track, because that's where the Type R really belongs. I'm really excited to try it. Oh, also, new brakes, 2-piece rotors, less unsprung mass, more stopping power. It didn't need that either, because... This car is such a weapon. If I was going to fault the Type R anywhere, the only spot that I could fault it is where the EP3 that James is in kind of picks up the pieces. It's that no matter how well they tune the engine or how well they design it, there's still turbo lag. When I put my foot down, 5,000 RPM, there's the torque. There's still lag. That's the only downside to what is otherwise a perfect front-wheel drive hot hatch. Here's the funny thing. The Type R compared to other cars nowadays is kind of the one that's a little bit of a stiffer experience. There's more noise, there's more harshness, even though it's still pretty compliant. I think if I had one, I would actually put a taller sidewall tire on it to kind of soften the ride a little bit. But compared to a Golf R, it's much less livable, which is funny because I have a feeling that between this car and the one that James is in, this is the Rolls Royce of the day.
Just listen to the VTEC again, ready? There it is, and third. Oh, it's such an obvious cut-in. That's VTEC, yo. Yo, that's VTEC. Hello there, I don't know the line. Buongiorno, VTEC. Oh God, I love old versus new. And when we drive the old versus new, sometimes we find that the character is lost when you go back or forth. But these two are birds of a feather. Everything about it is driving experience. Vibrations, noises, intake sounds, driver involvement, something we've lost in so many cars. And it's so awesome to go back in time and see that the Type R has stayed true to its roots. Oh, I need to drive the new one again, but first, we're going to talk about styling. Oh, I feel like I need a cigarette. I don't even smoke.
Okay, this is a known entity.
Yeah, with shades of grey. It's got new stuff.
Sure, this is not to me. How is it to drive?
This is very, very different. I don't want to spoil it because you're about to drive it, but it's very, very different.
Okay, can we talk about styling?
Sure, yeah.
Because honestly, neither of these are particularly good-looking cars.
No, it's not the strong point. It's not when we drove the R34 GTR. That thing
Beautiful,
was stunning.
Well, even
to
the
behold.
R33, they're just all beautiful.
Yeah,
These,
this looks like a Civic.
it looks like a Honda Fit.
Looks like a Honda Civic. Yeah,
Yeah, it
actually,
does.
this generation was called the bread van generation.
What's a bread
the
van?
EP3. It's the van that delivered bread to people's doors.
That's a thing?
I think it was before our time.
Okay, like the
It's a
milkman,
weird
that's
thing,
not
yeah.
a thing anymore.
We've got a few aftermarket things. We've got the lip on the front. The stock wheels have been switched out here. The stock wheels are the white ones.
Oh, I like the white.
Yeah.
Somehow the white on white really works.
Yeah, it does. It
Yes.
does work. These look cool too, though. But yeah, it's a Civic. It just looks like something's going on. To the public eye, back in the early 2000s,
Yeah.
this was like, what is that?
Yeah, like it looks like a Civic, but like, wait
Yeah.
a second, what's?
It's subtle.
Yeah.
Whereas
Oh, you don't think that's subtle?
the boost, no, not with the boost blue. I love the color, but
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
this
it
is
is.
the loudest Type R stock I've ever seen.
Ever. Well, there's a yellow as well. That might even be. I haven't seen it in
The
person
performance
yet.
one, yeah.
The performance
yeah.
one.
I'm looking
Okay,
forward to driving that.
Visually, it's still ridiculous. They didn't go any lengths to toning it down at
No,
all.
the styling changes are just.
Well, this isn't even a styling change. This is I had to change because they opened this up so that more air could get in because the engine's overheated the track.
Oh.
And as a result, they had to redesign the front splitter.
And then these are new as well. These little color.
Yeah, and in the back, there's a few things like it's not a fake vent anymore and
But
stuff
there's
like that.
still the 3 exhausts over here.
Yeah, I know,
right?
it still has 3 exhausts.
All right.
6
yeah.
feet, 6 feet, my friend.
Sorry,
6
sorry.
feet.
Okay.
And it has vents that are neither fake nor real.
Ah,
Yes.
this is the Civic way.
Yeah.
This has 1 exhaust, which is all you ever need.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
See, I feel like with all the stuff going on in the back and the stuff going on in the back, if you just kind of blended them together, you'd have 2 great looking cars.
Yeah, that's got some styling to go around. It could share it.
It could share its
Yeah.
styling. What's the British flag on the back of that though?
Ah, yeah, so this is the JDM spec, but I
Yeah.
guess that's an homage to the fact that they sent the parts from Japan to England. They put it together there, and then they sent it back.
They had the English assemble it?
Yeah, why, what are you trying to say?
Nothing, that's great.
Yeah. Anyway, the Japanese don't do that anymore.
No, now they just have Germany build it.
Oh,
Supra. Interior?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Ready for a socially distanced interior review?
I welcome a socially distanced review. You guys don't see it, but off camera, Thomas normally burps up the shawarma he had for lunch and just blows it against the closed window out of courtesy.
Okay, no, I do that. I'm not sure why. It's just
Yeah.
fun. I can't. All right, let's just talk about the Type R interior really quickly because there's not much new here.
But it's good stuff.
It's good stuff. So, first of all, Alcantara steering wheel, which is, I think it's nice. It's not the nicest Alcantara
No,
I've
it's
ever
not the
seen.
best quality.
Or micro suede, whatever. I don't know if it's branded Alcantara. We have a new shift knob, which is weighted, and it's kind of like S2000-y.
I love the idea of it being weighted. I
Yes.
feel like that was missing in the last one.
You'll like it. You will. Now, as for the rest of the interior, the only thing different, other than these, is it's now Honda sensing is standard,
So the whole suite of
which
safety
is
and
cool.
lane assist.
I feel like some people might not want that. They maybe want some more performance stuff. But honestly, this is the perfect car to purchase to drive to the track, enjoy at the track, and then drive home. And having that like lane, all the extra.
And it's good lane assist. Honda's is good.
It is, yeah. And so honestly, that's probably a thing that I would be happy to have on a Honda Civic Type R.
And these seats aren't new.
No, but
But
they're
it
the
needs to be said.
best seats in the business.
They're so good.
They're honestly as comfortable as any seat in any luxury car I've ever been in.
Yeah, I love them. They're
The
bolstered, they're spacious. The whole interior is spacious. It's not classy.
No, it's not, but it's well designed. It's not offensive. It's a bit offensive. There's too much red.
There's some red piping
There's
going
too much
on
red.
everywhere.
However, I don't really want to talk anymore about this because it's it's nice, it works. I don't care. I want to talk about the old one. Can we go look at it, please?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, welcome to 2002. So funnily enough, talking about the seats, these are also red seats in the front,
Yeah.
black in the back. Right?
Oh.
So they've kept that.
Oh, that's actually really
Yeah,
cool.
they've kept that. These aren't as cushy or as comfortable, but they are stock Recaros, and they even have adjustable knee
Under thigh support.
under thigh
Oh,
support.
wow.
Yeah. We've got the Honda Momo steering wheel.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. It's retro, and you've got a gauge cluster that's easier to read than that one.
Yes. Yo, yeah, definitely.
And in true Civic fashion, we got cup holders galore. We got one out here. Actually, a similar design down here with the moving cup holder bucket giant
interesting.
thing. Yeah, it
Okay.
feels like a kid's toy, where you, like an easy bake oven.
There's a Type R logo.
Yeah, we got the Type R logo down here. This is number 3,317. If I'm not mistaken, the other one's like 33,000 something.
Exclusivity.
Exclusivity.
Yeah.
There's some weird things going on here that are different. Obviously, the
steering wheel's on the other side of the car. We can start with that.
That's not weird to me.
Okay.
That's not weird. This feels normal. Obviously,
Yeah.
growing up in England,
Yeah.
it still feels more normal. I've
Really?
spent more of my adult life.
I guess you spent more
in
time
Canada.
there.
No, in Canada.
Oh, really?
But because I learned on it this way. One thing that is strange though is the shifter is up here on the console rather than down here. And I feel like when it's down by my waist, I can at least, pretend it's my own. Up here, it kind of has that vibe of just feeling like someone else's. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit weird. The Abarth 500 that we drove is like that as
Okay.
well.
Yes.
It takes some getting used to, but the idea is it's very close to the steering wheel, so it allows for quick shifts.
Well, it's got a manual handbrake.
It does have. Oh, that does it?
No.
So the Honda have done that with the Accord manual as well, and Volkswagen with the Golf R. We complained about that in a recent video.
That's not okay.
Yeah.
It's just not okay.
Manual handbrake should complement a manual shifter.
Yes.
It feels normal. It is more simple in here, but in a
Cool way.
maybe just
I-
in a simple.
Can I drive it now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And there's VTEC. Oh man, that's cool. I get it. I really do. Down into second. Torque steer. And 8,500 RPM. Oh my God. What a ridiculous experience. The cool thing is that there's a tonal quality to the 4-cylinder that is in both of these cars. I'm getting kind of the same high, frantic thrum from this that you get even in the turbocharged new version. This is just, it's on crack. That's insane. So cool. I get it. Honda people. I'm right there with you.
In the new Type R, it's so relaxed in here compared. Nothing's going crazy. The steering wheel vibrates when I want it to. The shift knob feels steady. I like the extra weight. It's not massively different, but it's actually, the shape is a bigger difference. It's more like the S2000 shape. I find myself side gripping it. It's just brilliant. And keep in mind, that was imported at about less than half the value of this. Meanwhile, the GTR we drove, the R34, was about the same price. It was over 100 grand, like the new GTR. So if you think that you're getting an old school, naturally aspirated, high revving, older brother of this for what is the equivalent of like $10,000 to $15,000 US, you still get that feeling of sitting inside history.
In the corners, it doesn't feel, this is on refreshed, upgraded suspension. It feels light. That's the best part about it. It feels light. I just don't find the steering to be particularly impressive. The new one it's got some stuff right. Torque steer. That's crazy. This thing is so light. 2,600 pounds. Doesn't weigh anything. That's like what a Miata weighs. And that's kind of the core of one of these old Type Rs. That's why you would import one, seek one out, find one, rebuild one, whatever you have to do. Because you're paying for that frantic Honda experience, the small size, the sharpness, the aggressiveness that you get with one of these cars. But you're getting it in an ultra-light package, so everything is more fun that way. Which one of these two cars would I have? I don't know, honestly. I'm not sure I would buy a new Type R for a daily, personally, so I would probably import one of these if I was going to get a Type R. James and I are actually thinking about importing a couple old cars ourselves. Have a couple guesses in the comments what you think they're going to be. I've always wanted to try one of these. Honestly, it lived up to what I thought it was going to be.
This is the easiest fast car to drive I've ever experienced. And it's not like something like an M2 Competition or a Camaro ZL1. You get to experience all of it on the road. And that is worth something. The Type R is such a great part of JDM history, culture, modern day history. It still exists. It exists in this form, which is a brilliant form. And yes, it has a bunch of assists, and now it has Honda sensing, but you can turn all of them off. So who cares if they're there? If you can turn them off, if we have the choice, if that's the future, it's just having a choice, I'll take it. Out of the two, it's this one every time. It's refined, it's easy to drive, it's fast, it's fun, and it feels properly safe, and they hold their value pretty well. But I echo Thomas's thoughts. Let's get the performance version on the track and see what it can do. Because what it can do on the road, no other front-wheel drive car does this. Brilliant.